On today's podcast, a man who was suggested by Robbie Williams,
bless his heart,
the maker of Fake Taxi and other known websites you've probably been on before.
Yeah.
JT, mate, thanks for coming.
Welcome. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. You don't usually do interviews, is what you were saying before.
Never do interview. I did a keynote once, but it's mainly for trade, like for people in the adult industry, for the trade publications and things. But
what was it about the adult industry that you gravitated towards and ended up working in?
Porn. Thinking that going to be on lots of different sets, looking at naked ladies in the flesh and reading all the stories and thinking, just believing the hype around the porn and
like the glamorous side of it.
Yeah, and really finding out it's not that glamorous. It's really boring.
Really?
So yeah, but right at the very beginning was just an opportunity. I would class myself as an entrepreneur, but a pretty spectacular failed entrepreneur.
Can you tell us about the failures you had before you got in the industry?
Yeah, there was one of the ones was solar water products. So we were trying to be able to heat.
More boring than porn, that.
Yeah, we were trying to trying to heat up, like creating ovens and trying to heat water so that it would get above 63 degrees or whatever it was, so it would be pasteurized for the third world countries, but using the sun.
Quite noble though, I suppose, is it?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you won't get any credit for that now you've done porn. Nobody will care about that now.
Yeah, my little brownie points, they've been ticked off, that's for sure. Yeah, that failed. We just couldn't get the temperature up, really. Then there was a toothpaste.
Really?
Yes, a non-foaming toothpaste using cardamom. So the toothpaste was brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, that didn't really work.
So what was the actual appeal of a cardamom
it was very people have like phobias about foam.
Wow, okay.
But this toothpaste was particularly like really good toothpaste. But that didn't take off.
It's mad for me to hear that you were like this, and then porn was your sort of avenue to make your fortune. And was it when you were younger? Were you always sort of looking for opportunities? Were you always going to be that guy?
Yeah, me and my brother, we used to be in the Cubs. So we used to do like Bob a job. So we always used to do 2 jobs for ourselves and one for the Cubs. So we was always looking to how to make money, I guess. So I come from like a traveling family.
Right.
So my mum was from traveling family. So they're always wheeling and dealing. So you got it in your blood, really.
So were you always traveling quite a lot? Or were you...
No, because she married out of the fraternity.
Right.
So they settled down. They had when I was younger, they had like a hotel bed and breakfast. Then they turned it into old people's home. So, and then they turned it into a home for the mentally ill.
What was that? Why did they progress towards that?
More money.
Right.
Yeah. So instead of like £20 bed and breakfast, you was on like £150 a week from the government to look after these people.
Yeah.
And then if you looked after the mentally ill, you got 300 or whatever it was at the time.
So they were sort of in that.
Yeah, so they made a lot of money pretty quickly. So they would go through, they'd buy other big like premises. This was all down in Herne Bay in Kent. So they ended up with 3 really big homes. So about 120 beds in all. They've retired, and my brother Michael.
So they're still around now.
Yeah,
and they're aware that you're in this industry.
Oh yeah, Mum, she passed away back last nearly a year ago.
So you've been in the porn industry for a while. So were they aware of it?
Yeah, they were. They weren't very like happy about it. I didn't really tell them at the beginning because there's just a real stigma attached. Yeah. So it's like it was 2006, so like 11 years I've been in the adult industry.
That's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Your sort of what we were talking about before we went on. The porn industry's changed so much because of the internet, and you were seen as someone who might have been instrumental in that change because you started YouPorn.
Yeah, so I was part of the team that started YouPorn. So before YouPorn, everybody had to pay for porn, basically membership. So literally you had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of little like husband and wife teams that would film content. They'd put it online, they'd put the paywall there, and they'd make tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands a month.
How much money would people pay per month back then? Like, was it quite...
Back then, $20, $30 a month.
Which is actually quite a size.
Yeah, and it's still the same price today.
Wow. And do they still make money from that?
Yeah. A lot, because you have tens of thousands of members. We have like over 100,000
Tube sites changed the game a bit, because I remember when they came around, I was like, I don't really have to pay for a wank anymore. I can just click on the video. It's a highlight video. It's not a full video. But
when the tubes first come along, we launched YouPorn 26th of August 2006. Tube sites had already, like the porn tube sites had already been there about a year, but they hadn't really taken off because people were uploading clips that were like 20 seconds and up to like a minute long, because
it's like a teaser sort of thing.
Well, yeah, but these weren't being uploaded by companies. These were being uploaded by users that liked the things, but not a lot of people knew how to rip a DVD, how to record, how to like download a DVD, then upload it. Bandwidth was very expensive and very, very slow. So thinking like if they've just downloaded a scene, like a 20-minute scene, that could have taken them about 3 hours to download. Now they've got to upload that scene to YouPorn or Pornhub or whatever.
Would they make money from that?
No, they just used to do it for
what? That's what I sort of struggle with. Do you know what I mean? Like some other people.
You're trying to think of the guy who's in his mum's basement doing all of this.
Imagine all the other people that will have a good wank over this. Do you know what I mean?
It's for. I don't know why they would have done it, but they did. They did it in their hundreds of thousands. Yeah, for the community spirit.
You get good stuff back, I guess.
Well, yeah, you share your favourite, somebody else shares, and it builds out the community. But at that point, there wasn't any name to the person that was uploading it. There were no communities. It was just literally. For instance, we turned YouPorn on as a domain in the framework. We turned it on. The guy that turned it on, there wasn't no video, I think the first video that he put on there was a video of a gondola in Venice. He phoned his dad and said, can you go to this website and make sure it's working? His dad knew that he'd started like this framework and he'd called it YouPorn. He thought it was really pretty funny because of YouTube, obviously.
What's the URL, son? Yeah, it's YOUPORN.
I've got a story about that. Remind me later, which is pretty funny. So he was on the phone speaking to his dad for about half an hour. So the website had gone online. He put one video on the gondola video. By the time he'd got off the phone, he was going to upload the first porn video. He went on there. Somebody else had already found the domain and uploaded a video.
Wow.
Within 30 minutes. Then,
if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Yeah. So within the first week, I think there were about 500 videos that people uploaded. Not great big hour-long videos, but little snippets of porn videos and other different videos.
To my knowledge, when I first went on YouPorn, it was about people being uploading their own videos a lot of the time that they'd made themselves, I guess. That was the idea in my head.
Yeah.
Like
but some of the that content is very dangerous content.
Yeah.
When
because there's revenge porn in that as well, isn't there?
Not only that, but you don't have any documents. You don't know if they're over 18. But because you don't, as a tube site, because you don't own that content, and when people are uploading the content, they tick a box to say they own the content, they have the rights, and they have all documentation for the content. Obviously, most people don't, but they're clicking yes, they're clicking upload. But what what we realised was, so we launched end of August 2006. We didn't really start going viral till November 2006. Then by March, we were having, I think it was like 500,000 visitors a month to the site, which we thought was like crazy. What we did think was really crazy is we didn't have enough money to pay the bandwidth bills.
I was going to say, that's quite a lot for a small startup sort of.
So November, we had the bandwidth company phone us to say, hey, we need you to wire us like $10,000 because your bill is going to be huge. Where are you getting all this traffic from? And we were like, we don't know, because we didn't advertise, but we just grew through word of mouth. But we realized right at the very beginning, because of the threats we were getting from content producers, and some really heavy like death threats.
As in people who make porn, whose videos were being uploaded to your site, which meant that they weren't getting the traffic to theirs.
Yeah, meaning that they saw it that we were stealing their content, because their memberships would have started going down.
You were the lad Bible of the porn world, basically.
Yeah, maybe. But I know that we just weren't received very well by the people creating the content. They're spending thousands to create this content, to put on their pay site, to sell thousands, literally tens of thousands of memberships a month, which they were, to all of a sudden see their content on tube sites like YouPorn, and YouPorn being protected with the DMCA law, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act.
All right.
That was created because otherwise every single like law court in the world would grind to a halt through people trying to sue for copyright infringement. So they created the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the DMCA, so that if you found that I had your videos on my website, you have to let me know with you have to fill out the DMCA form specifically. If you get it wrong, I don't need to conform to it. But when I receive your notice, I have 24 hours safe harbor to remove your video. But I could have had your video on my website for a year selling, and it could have had 20 million views, and I'm selling adverts on my website. As soon as you realize that I have your thing, I say, oh, sorry. Take it down, and there's nothing you can do. And then another user will upload that video because he really liked it. Yeah.
And recently there was a picture that went viral on Instagram of someone who had a check from Pornhub, I think it was, for the amount of hits that they'd had on their video.
Yeah, because the dynamics have changed now. If we go right back to the very beginning, because none of us in the YouPorn team, there were 7 of us in all, had ever ran an adult company. We didn't know anything about adult company. We've just like technology. Right. But we realised the
great
business.
Cover, by the way, sorry. Yeah, it's really good. We just love technology.
Yeah. We were a glorified ad network. That's what we were. Just like YouTube.
Very similar.
Really. Yeah. So, but we realised right at the very beginning, the business model that we'd created wasn't sustainable. We were sitting at the top, and we knew that we were going to kill everybody below us. You know, if we didn't filter the money that we were getting or the traffic that we were getting back to the people whose content was on our website,
like YouTube do, basically.
Yeah. So we didn't think it was fair that we would have all of this content that you would need to DMCA us to get the content removed. We couldn't control what our user base were uploading, because if we looked at those videos before they went online, it meant that we were secondary producers of that content, which mean that we had to hold all of the documents for that content, all of the model releases.
So you can't be doing that then.
So we couldn't be doing, so we had to let everything go on there. We realized the business model wasn't sustainable. We realized that we really were the true evil that entered this adult industry.
Is that how you were viewed? Did they hate you?
Yeah, everybody hated us.
And you felt that way?
Well, we were told. We would get so many emails.
You know these death threats? I mean, how real are we talking here?
Very.
Really?
We had one. about like a silver bullet with like YouPorn written on it, and if we ever go to a trade show, he's going to shoot us, and think like, wow, that's.
And this is a known guy who probably would go through with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, it's. So we didn't go to trade shows.
You need to borrow Robbie's Desert Eagle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how did that? How did you react to that at the time? Because you were also just like, listen, we're just technology guys who put porn on.
Yeah, we were just technology guys knowing exactly what we were doing to a real established huge industry.
Quite disruptive then to their model.
Severely.
Which is something that now people almost glorify a little bit online. It's like you can disrupt the mainstream model.
Where the industry was like lucky is that YouPorn did come along. Because the other tube sites were in existence, they really didn't care. Right. You know, they just wanted as much porn on there. They wanted to sell as many banners as possible. But we did actually care, and so we tried to work out a way of how can we help the production companies that are spending all of this money producing content that their users are now not subscribing because they're looking at all their content on our website. What can we do? So we invented something called the Content Partner Program, where you as a content producer, you would edit videos, how we would tell you how to edit, because we had so much data to say people, so like millions of people watch this video and it had a high rating because this video had these things in it. So it had a start, middle, and an ending, and the cum shot was in the ending.
Don't forget the cum shot.
Yeah, but it's really technical. It really is a science of how, and it's how we actually grew YouPorn to how big it actually got, was because we come up with an algorithm that tracked the footprint of every user. So we could, as a user, you would need to come in and watch, I think it was like 4 videos. If we footprinted you, and the 4 videos that you watched, and if you rated them, if you was a guy that would rate them, we then knew what your next steps were going to be, what next videos.
Pretty accurately.
Yeah.
So you could recommend videos.
If you watch like 7, 8, 9 videos without clearing your cache, we could narrow it down to around about, out of the, when we launched this algorithm, we had 100,000 videos. We could narrow it down to the next around about 200-300 videos. We knew that you were going to click on that one in a different niche. So it could be like transsexual, it could be anything. But these footprints. But what that enabled us to do was we could preempt what you were going to like. Yep. So we had like a we recommend, and that was one of the most used things on our website, where people are like, bloody hell, I like that. But it wasn't only valuable for the user retention and the user experience, but it was so valuable for pay sites, for being able to advertise. So we could say, we've got this demographic here of 15 million users that we know that they're likely to want to go in and look at teen content or look at reality content.
And so would they make stuff almost tailored to your audience?
Yeah, so we would, because we had this content partner program. So if we go back, so 2007 we launched content partner program. So that meant that, hey, I know we've got a lot of your content on our site already, but we will badge that, give you banners under the video player, and we're going to direct our traffic to your pay site. We reached out to 2 or 3 different production companies, big production companies, and they were like, are you crazy? Why would someone that is on a free tube site looking at my content want to then click on the banner to come through and pay me $30 for a membership? And we're like, but we think that they will. And they're like, you're just fucking crazy. You're not going to make any friends here. So we were like, shit, what do we do? Because we really believed in this content. But for us, it was logical. It was going to happen. But we also were having a lot of visitors at that time. I think we would have been up to, 1 million visitors a day by the time we launched the the content partner program.
Because it's also streaming video like that. Is that HD? It's not HD at that time.
Not
it's like 4:3.
Yeah.
But for the ads.
For the ads.
Can you remember roughly what the company was making a month at that point?
Yeah, but I can't talk about
All right, okay.
the
A lot of money though.
Yeah.
Our bandwidth bill at our peak was like $500,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just for bandwidth in a
Just
month.
for bandwidth.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. But we didn't have many other costs.
Yeah, and I suppose you were sort of
and the ad
leaders.
revenue was good.
I mean, damn right.
And we also got revenue from cams, so that was extremely good.
Did
and
you push
dating.
through to cam? Or what happened with that?
So we would have just tabs, so like for the cams, but the ad
the cam
revenue.
girls and that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had one on.
Did you sort of pride yourself then on the user experience?
Yeah, user experience for us was everything, because we never wanted to spend any money advertising YouPorn. We wanted everything to be word of mouth. We wanted everybody to be proud to go tell their friends that, my God, you should go on YouPorn. They don't have video ads of guys growing their cock from 8 centimeters to 8 foot.
Yeah.
So we didn't have video ads. The reason we used to spend so much on bandwidth is because in the early days we knew that the worst experience for the end user is buffering, because you can't buffer your wank. It's not a good thing.
I mean, that you're totally right.
And there's your podcast title.
Yeah.
You can't buffer your wank, all right?
I love it, mate.
If that was your keynote, I'd love that being the keynote. You can't buffer your wank, just so everyone's aware of that, all right?
Yeah, and that was like our unique selling point was no buffering. You know, because there was nothing worse.
And so I guess it's unusual because actually I'm guessing, a load of heterosexual guys sitting in a room having to work out what a load of heterosexual guys sitting alone in a room want to knock one out over. And essentially your user experience is how they can wank best.
Yeah, we didn't have to work out what they wanted to wank over because they chose that themselves. There's so many
but you've got to read the data, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh yeah, the data.
Yeah.
Data is key to everything, no matter how big or
You're
small.
a stat man, essentially.
Yeah, but you can get bogged down in data. That's the thing.
And especially, I guess, in the porn industry where it's sort of a subjective thing in a way.
Yeah, you can just drill down too much, and then you start becoming very diluted.
At this point, you've never been on a shoot and seeing porn in real life.
No.
You're a guy in an office who's running a successful business.
Well, we didn't even have an office,
right?
Because at the time I was based in the UK, and we didn't want to run it from the UK. Had a partner in America, just because we were just scared of everything.
Right.
Because we didn't really, because YouPorn was started more as a joke. You know, we didn't really realise what it was going to turn into. But we very quickly realised come November, after a couple of months, that what we had...
It exploded.
Yeah, it's we had to do something. So we would just travel everywhere. We'd be on a Skype video call, me and the main partner, and we'd just literally spin the globe and go, let's go meet there, and we'd race there. So we used to go to Hong Kong a lot.
Because you had the cash?
No, because we just wanted to get out. We wanted to get away from the kids, get away from the wives, just so that we could just sit in hotel rooms and just work out what the hell we were going to do.
It must be quite a surreal lifestyle.
It was surreal. It was scary because of the threats we were getting from an industry that we knew that we could be really good friends with. Yeah. But it was scary because where the hell are we going to get all this money from? Because the advertisers, you would sell them your traffic, or you would give them the ad spots for 30 days, and then they would have like 90 days to pay you for the ad spots. And we're thinking, we just don't have the money to pay our bandwidth bills, so they're going to turn us off on the bandwidth. So we didn't want to meet anybody, either face to face. We just would not meet anybody.
Why?
We were just so scared.
Right. That someone would just go, you're the guy, gone.
Because we didn't know who was connected to
So you were taking these death threats very seriously and rightly so.
Yeah. For the first year of the site, I called myself Nora. That's where my Skype name comes from.
Why Nora?
Why not? because my nan used to always say like shit in Nora. Did you see that? So I was like, I call myself shit in Nora.
Totally inconspicuous.
Yeah, so I was Nora for the first year, and then started using my initials like JT.
Well, you know, when the money's coming in, eventually, you do start seeing the profits. How did your lifestyle change? What sort of lifestyle were you living before, and then what did it go up to? Because I've seen your Instagram, and you're doing pretty well for yourself.
You're doing okay.
I'm impressed with the lifestyle, and I admire what you've done. But what kind of jump did you make, would you say?
With YouPorn, not much, really, because we were just so worried, you know, about it could just disappear overnight. So nothing really changed. Plus, we were working like 18-hour days too,
so
because there were 7 of us that looked after the whole of the company. So I was mainly traveling 3 weeks of the month. And then you'd go home for like 4 or 5 days. Then you'd just jump on a plane to go do work wherever we used to.
What's your wife saying at this point? Is she sort of like, you know, I mean, because if you're getting death threats, are you sharing that with your wife?
No.
So she doesn't know?
No.
But she knows you're working in porn?
Knows we're working in porn. Just used to, don't talk to me about it.
Right.
No. So she's raising the kids as well?
Yeah, raising the kids.
The kids don't know what dad does? Kids,
no. How old would Joe have been? 7 years ago. He would have been about 15.
Right.
So I think he knew. So of course all his friends at school knew, so he went to hero status.
Pretty much.
So I was known as the YouPorn, YouPorn guy. So he used to call himself the YouPorn kid.
Right.
Harry was he's 2 years or 3 years younger than Joe, so he used to call himself Harry Hefner after Hugh Hefner. So yeah, I've got 7 kids, by the way, a lot of kids.
What did this experience to that point? What do you feel like you'd learned about like this industry and this business?
People are crazy.
Is it the Wild West that it comes across, or that it used to come across as?
I think before YouPorn started, then yeah, for sure. I hear so many stories about at the trade shows where people they're blowing $50,000-$100,000 on parties,
right?
And just thinking the money is absolutely incredible, and it just really was, and until the tube sites come along.
Because that really did impact the subscriptions.
Yeah.
Even though you tried to divert the traffic,
lot.
Not everyone was doing that. You had so many other tube sites not doing that.
Yeah, because it wasn't just us, but we were the fastest growing. So from November through to November 2006, I think we were one of the fastest growing websites on the internet. At the time, we were growing like 10 times faster than Facebook.
It reminds me a little bit of the music industry, where you had, album sales were massive, and then all of a sudden Napster come along, and they've just flatlined the industry, and then people have to adapt, and different things.
Yeah, I think when we started the content partner program, so if we go back to 2007, so we actually had 2 companies that said, okay, we'll break rank with everybody else, because everybody else on the forums hate the tube sites, hate YouPorn in particular, because we just broke out and we started getting big. It was Naughty America that were a real big site, and another one called CD Girls.
I remember Naughty America.
Really?
Yeah, so those
CD Girls.
CD Girls.
Like CD, or CD.
No, CD, like CD.
Naughty America was a huge site.
Yeah, and they still are, because they adapted.
Yeah, I remember.
Naughty America's good. Did you just see their VR advert that went absolute viral?
We're not in the industry, so I don't feel like we're.
Oh no, this would have been on Instagram. It was everywhere. A guy had the VR goggles on and was caught masturbating. Didn't realise his girlfriend come in. That was a video that they did themselves, but the girlfriend supposedly uploaded it, and that went pretty viral for them.
Well, that is a pretty funny scenario, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So Naughty American CD Girls, they said, okay, let's try this content partner program out. So we asked them for 30 videos each. We put 1 a day with the content partner banner underneath. Now this content partner banner, so how the content partner program works. So you're on YouPorn, you're watching a Naughty America video. You like that video, you see the banner underneath, you think, I'll click that. So you could have like an offer, like $1 trial. So you click on that. You then leave YouPorn, you go through to Naughty America. You look at their website, you think, wow, this is really good. I've just really enjoyed that video that I've seen for free. But it's only a 4 or 5 minute video. There's the 24-minute long version of the video I just really enjoyed. Yeah, I'm gonna join. Right. It pays $30. YouPorn, we get $15 of that. You know, wow. So we're good to the industry, but we want to actually make our money too. So we become what is known as an affiliate. So we send that user through to you, to Naughty America. He buys a membership. We get half of the membership, lifetime membership fee. So he could be a member for a year, and we're getting a lot of money. So Naughty America, we were putting a video a day for the first month. They were getting so many bad comments on the industry forums, because they started dealing with us. The industry really didn't like it. So I think for Naughty America, we sold, I think, over 5,000 memberships in that first month.
That's very good.
And that's good for them at that time.
At $30 a membership is very good.
And if they're going downhill anyway, they're still a little bit.
So we had an agreement with them that they wouldn't really talk about the memberships until the end of the month. At the end of the month, feel free to tell everybody what you're doing. So they did. All of a sudden, nearly every content producer, every website that got the tubes, they were like, fuck, I want a part of that. So they did. They all started hitting us up.
It's about proving yourself, isn't it, at that point?
And then all of a sudden, we've gone from 2 content partners. Within a year, we had over 2,000 companies signed up with us. We ended up being the biggest affiliate in the porn industry because of the sheer amount of traffic that we had. And we were growing, our traffic was growing very, very, very fast. When we started the content partner program, I think we had like 20 million visitors a month. Maybe 30 million.
Is that uniques, or is that people repeating?
That's people. Right. At our peak was March 2010, where we had 372 million users, and uniques were around about 170 million uniques.
And, what countries are they based in? Is that all around the world?
Yeah, about 45% US. Wow. Then Germany was a big market for us, even though that we were banned
Germans
in
love
Germany.
Porn, don't they? Bloody love Germans.
Just through IP.
Right, so you can just go VPNs essentially, right? Yeah. And so, could you see exactly what those countries liked as well? Because now Pornhub, I think every year do their best web.
There's different tastes for different countries.
I think Pornhub does that every year now. They release the top 10. And that's always something
very good at, because that creates a lot of mainstream
great
press.
marketing.
The Pornhub guys are amazing at marketing. Absolute.
They're welcome to sponsor us if they want, by the way.
I can speak to them.
Oh mate, that's good. This just keeps rolling. Robbie Williams singing. Where's it going to take us?
He's a real cash cow.
And I'll tell you, Robbie Williams said I should get the Fate Taxi guy on, and here I am.
I don't know why you have a rocking chair. That'd be really weird.
That's just doggy
what
style.
are you doing under there?
Holding our head.
Okay, right, and so
this is your peak now. 2010.
2010 March 2010 was 372. It was a 20 according to Alexa, which is obviously the website ranking.
Not Amazon.
No.
When does the money start coming?
Hey, Alexa.
At any point, was there any months where you're like, fucking hell, there's a check, thank you?
Oh yeah, like nearly every month. So right at the very beginning, like I said, we were really worried because we didn't have any money. So we got onto the ad networks, the dating companies, and the cam companies to say, right, we're going to give you all of this, all like the tabs, we're going to give you a set percentage of our banners. You see our traffic, you see our growth, you know the growth's not going to stop. We're going to prepay, we're going to pre-sell this content or this space to you for 2 months. but we really need you to prepay. These companies were worth hundreds of millions. So they're like, yeah, we'll do this for you, because then we're very loyal to them, they're very loyal to us.
Good
so they started prepaying a lot of money. Then at the end of the 2 months, if our traffic had gone up more than what we had expected, they would make good on the extra traffic that they had.
Wow.
So it was a very, very, very friendly environment. Yeah.
Had you expanded the team from 7 at that point as well?
No, it was only ever 7.
Right, wow.
So because it's essentially a server game, isn't it? Or you need the space, the bandwidth, that sort of thing.
And around this time, you come to sell the company, is that right?
Well, it was rumoured that we tried to sell the company in March 2007, after we just had it a few months. At the time, I think we had 20 million visitors, or about 50, half a million a day.
Did you try to sell?
Kind of. We went to see Steve Hirsch at Vivid.
Vivid's a big company.
Yeah, they were massive.
Yeah,
they still are a very big.
Yeah, but
company.
they were. Very
were probably
big,
the biggest.
Well, they were
the
Jenna Jameson at something at one point.
Yeah.
So that's big.
I love that.
Huge. And so we went to see him. We wanted a lot of money for it because we knew where it was going to go, because the traffic stats just don't lie. He hounded us out of the office. I wasn't there, thank God, but security had to take us out, told us that we were
not
insane, that it's a fad, it's going to die out. And we were like, do you know what, it's not going to die out. And it didn't. Thank
the
God.
price that you asked for that day and the price that it eventually sold for, was it a few years later after that?
It was, we actually sold 5th of May 2011.
Right, so that's like 4 years later then. I bet you the price was dramatically more, was it?
I can't really talk about it, but it was rumoured what we were asking for.
Do you know what the rumoured figure is by any chance?
Yes. We were asking a lot of money back in March, at the beginning of March, in 2007, and it was a lot more that we sold it for in 2011.
And so in that time though, had you worked your way into where you wanted to work your way into? You got into porn partly because you also wanted to see naked girls?
Yeah, we'd never been on one set.
In all that time?
Sitting there.
Yeah.
I'll just imagine you in the office in 2011 going, still haven't seen a
seen one
still
all these
wanking
checks.
Yeah.
So you sell up and you cash out, do very well for yourself.
Sell up, but we already knew that we were going to be selling, because we wanted, it leads back to we hadn't been on a porn set. We'd been invited on some. It's like we still didn't trust the industry. So we were hit up by a new cam company, or another cam company. They said, we'll send the private jet to come pick you up in LA, fly up to our offices. And so me and my partner, we were like, fuck yeah, we should do that. They're going to have, you don't tell them anything.
Yeah.
You'd say like, they're going to have a bed on there, they're going to put cam girls in there, we're going to have a whale of a time. So the sensible one in our team was saying, they're going to like rohi you. They're going to have so much content on you that you're going to need to sign over this new deal. And we're like, and what is the problem? So we still didn't really trust anybody. It was a real surreal, real weird time.
So you didn't go?
No.
Right.
We drove up there.
Right, you drove.
Yeah.
Right. But you did go.
We did go. We started meeting people face to face.
And what was that like?
It was weird because they had no idea what we looked like.
And so you're meeting them and sort of...
Yeah, it's meeting them. And plus, I was always the guy that would be... that would go and meet people as well, like the eyes and the ears of the company.
So you're the face of the channel, I guess.
Yeah, so I would go to the shows. I think the first show I went to was in Vegas. Used to go with a different name on the tag, different company, and that's where I got the moniker of the YouPorn guy, because everybody used to go, "That's the YouPorn guy."
Right.
And I just would be walking through,
And
just
is this
not
the
really want to
conventions
talk.
and stuff with all the naked girls and
yeah.
that? Did you enjoy that? Yeah, it was good.
No, because everybody would want to come up and talk to you. So I used to have a business card. I should have brought one with me, but it was just a black laminated card with YouPorn logo, JT. That's all it was.
Right.
So YouPorn logo. So people used to come up and pitch me, say, "Oh, blah blah, can we do this? Can we do that?" And say, "Do you know what? Yeah."
But there's no contact.
Give me your card, and if I'm interested, I'll contact you. And they go, "Okay, do you have a card?" I go, "Yeah." I'd give them the card, and they go, "There's no contact details." And go, "No," and say, "You're not going to contact me, are you?" And I go like, "No, I'm not. Sorry, it's not a service." And how can we contact you? And you go, "Do you know what? You can't."
Wow.
Because we were happy with what we had. Because of the loyalty that we had to our cam companies, the dating companies, their ad networks, because they started prepaying for everything, that we stuck with them from the very beginning right to the very end.
But that must also create somewhat of an air of excitement around you guys, because it's sort of like, don't call us, we'll call you. And you never do call
it's good, but it gets very, very boring having to say no. At the beginning, I was like, I'd take a look at it. And they used to work out that my email address would be JT@YouPorn, or they'd give it a go and say, found you. But it was, it was very difficult at the beginning to say no, because people were so excited, because you have millions and millions of users a day that they knew that if they could get access to, that they would be making an absolute fortune. You know, so we had to restrict, because we were very protective over our users. Our ad networks, we wouldn't let them sell adverts to companies that would do video ads, because we didn't think it was right that if you're watching a porn video, that next to the video player would be 2 video ads scrolling of a guy's dick going from like that to that, because you'll look and you think like, bloody hell, does that actually work?
Also, that's very distracting, I guess.
Very distracting, because for us, we don't care if we want them to click on the banners, because we get paid more.
Yeah. But how did your ego deal with the fact that all of a sudden everyone wants to be your new best friend? You have the power now.
Yeah, it was good, but again, you knew that everybody wanted to be your friend because of YouPorn, not because you're a particularly nice guy.
But you were vindicated. That must have been quite satisfying to walk around these conventions and be like,
it was, because they started to ask us to go on panels, so I'd start speaking on panels, start giving them insight into how we do things, why we do things, and why we're actually the industry's friend instead of the enemy.
And were you often challenged on those panels? Were there a lot of angry people?
No, not at that time. Not the time. So I wouldn't want to put myself in that position. You'd get 1 or 2 in the crowd that were like still anti-tubes, but those guys just aren't around. It's like the people that didn't adapt to the tube sites
died out.
They did die out, and we kind of take we're kind of pleased that it actually also cleansed the industry, because of the stigma of being in the adult industry is derived from people that shouldn't really have been in the industry. Really like dirt.
I've
but
seen
with the adult with the tube sites, it meant that they didn't adapt, because they just struck it lucky at a time. They're filming their wives or their girlfriends or anybody, not getting the documentation, put it on a website, selling memberships, and they don't care about anything, and they all died out. So you're tend to left with the professional companies that shoot really good like high quality sensual erotic content, or the amateur content.
It's quite pure, I guess, in that sense, like crack.
And it's just the industry has shrunk a lot, but the industry is very close. Everybody is there for everybody. The forums, some of the forums are amazing. Some of them
private forums?
There are some private forums, but mainly for the adult industry. So you have to be part of the adult industry to get into the forums.
And what sort of things are on? Is it like advice on how to?
If anybody needs anything, anybody doing any good offers on dating or cams, or has anybody used this CMS system? What do you recommend? Or what do you recommend I do here? Or I've got a problem, or my God, have you seen the price of Bitcoin? And, so.
And were you looking at other porn sites at that time and sort of looking at their UX and sort of being like, oh, those guys have got this, we should try that on our website? Or
with YouPorn, we kind of knew what we wanted to do. Right. So we never wanted to make changes to the site. We changed the logo because we had to, because Google were suing us. Because our original logo was like perceived to be like the YouTube. We don't think that it was. So they contacted us with a cease and desist to hand the domain over to them. At that point, we thought our world had completely ended. Right. Because how can we fight against Google? You can't even get a lawyer in America against Google because they have every single like tier 1 lawyer on retention. But we found a law firm that weren't on retention. So we fought back, and it was about 6 weeks from getting the original letter to them emailing to say they're not going to pursue. So we changed the logo, and we had companies that big marketing companies to say to us, right, you need to spend $100,000 because we'll help you change the logo from what it is to this. We actually spent $16 buying the license to a font, reached out to the kid that owned the font to say, hey, do you mind if we put a star in the O instead of the love heart that you have in the O? It's the kinky font. And he went, yeah, no problem. We paid him $16. We liked pastel pink and pastel grey. So we launched the new logo, and these companies said, you can't do it, it's going to be a massive failure. And we go, do you know what? I don't think anybody's ever gone onto a website and wanked over the logo.
The logo.
Really?
At least a very small percentage. Yeah.
I'm thinking, I remember some interviews I've watched from a couple of years ago where porn stars girls have been talking about the difference of the money they used to make and the money they do make. And I'm aware that you're sitting here, but there might be a porn star watching this interview right now saying, I wish I was there to criticise them on this or that. Is there a thing that you feel like you've been criticised for in the past having to do with YouPorn unfairly? Is there anything that you've been accused of?
Well, the people are shooting less content than when we come along because a lot of the companies are not in business anymore. Right. So, yeah, they're shooting a lot less content. So girls and boys that are performers are not getting as much work. The content that's being shot is being shot by more professional companies. So the performers need to work harder in the scene. They just can't turn up and the guy points the camera, they go through. So they have to show passion. And this is where Nikki, with Nikki's models. Right, yeah.
That's the girl who got in contact with us, your girlfriend.
Yeah, it's my girlfriend. Right. So when we first started we were using lots of different agencies and they were terrible. They just didn't give a crap. They would send the girls without passports, without ID. We have all of our full crew there, waiting for the girls to turn up, or they just wouldn't turn up. So we realised that we needed to be in control of our main part of the business, which was the performers.
So this is now, you're into the content production.
Yeah,
so you're out of YouPorn, you've sold YouPorn. At what point did you decide you wanted to get into making porn yourself? Because you obviously didn't.
Yeah, so that was the question earlier. Sorry, so in 2009, we realised that for us to see naked girls, we need to own our own production company.
This is just one long thing to try and get you to see naked girls, isn't it?
Yeah,
I love it.
Right. Okay.
For us to, but we
not because of someone who feels the same way. I'm just like, you're a hero, man.
Right.
So we realised we were getting invited to sets, but we didn't really trust any of the people that we had been invited to go look at the sets, and we were thinking like, this is going to end badly. So we need to own our own production company. So we didn't want to go through and set a production company up from scratch because it was just too much hassle.
We've been in a very similar position in the last year. So making different content, unfortunately.
Yeah. I love seeing football.
So we reached out to a production company down in Portugal because their videos were on our tube site. But they weren't part of our content partner program, which we couldn't really work out because their content was spectacular. And I'm not going to name the company.
Right. What makes their content spectacular? What sort of things? What boxes are we ticking?
The way it was filmed, the girls, they were all like Czech, Hungarian, really, really hot girls, but the girls had a real proper chemistry. And the way that it was videoed, the lighting, the storylines, not that they really matter that much, but it was just, this content stood out. They had 38 of the top 50 most viewed videos on our website.
Okay.
So, so this guy reached out that I knew, and he said, hey, you in London? So I said, actually, I am. I'm there today. He said, I need to meet you because I'm director of a company, and we're going through a real terrible time because of you. And I'm like, okay, but I knew it was a safe meeting to have with this guy. So I went and had lunch with the guy, and he pulled these DVDs out and put them on the site.
Is this in a fancy restaurant? Sorry, because I'm sort of imagining it's somewhere in Mayfair, kind of.
No, I used to be a member of the. I can't remember.
Like a gentleman's club somewhere, essentially.
Yeah. So you go there.
Mayfair or something like that.
Yeah, on Shaftesbury Avenue.
Right.
The media place.
Right. 100? Century?
No.
No? Right.
May have been Century.
Right, yeah.
So we were there, and he pulled out all of these DVDs, and I looked at them and I went, I know this company.
Yeah.
And he went, yeah. So I said, these are really, really good. So I had my laptop, pulled up YouPorn. I said, look, they've got like 38 of the top 50. And I said, why don't they join our content partner program? He said, because the guy that owns it absolute despises you. So I went like, holy crap. And he's gone, our memberships have gone from like 4,000 members, which for them were quite a lot, but they weren't very good at the internet thing. They used to sell a ton of DVDs, but they just weren't very good at the internet. So they went from 4,000 members. He said, we have just over 400 members. And I'm like, oh my God. I knew how many members I could send him in the first month, let alone if we did this over a long period of time. I went, just get him to join our content partner program. He said he won't do it. So I said, where are they based? Hoping that they were in England. He said, they're down in Portugal. So I went, oh. So I said, can we go see him? And he went, he won't like seeing you. So I said, well, let's go down there. I said, because if I get face to face with the guy after he's over his initial hate, and if he wants to punch me, he can, then I'll say to him how much money I can make him. So we flew down to Portugal the following morning. Went down there.
Must be great to do that.
Yes, it was just
fun,
good.
right?
But I just saw a massive opportunity because at this time we were looking at acquiring a production company. And this production company was on its knees, but it had the best content that our users absolutely adored.
Stars aligned almost.
Yeah. So we went down there. So the guy, we went walking in the office. He had like a big house where all the editors were, and he had a lot of staff down there. So we walked in. It was with this guy. Met the guy that owned the company, and he said, "Oh, who's he?" And he said, he's just my mate. Just want to come down and show him the company. So we had a nice morning, talking to everybody. I couldn't let on who I was. Then we went for lunch, and it was great. Then after lunch, we went back to the office, sat around the table, and the guy said to the owner, he said, I haven't been completely honest with you, this is JT from YouPorn. And this guy went ballistic. He went, get out, what the are you doing here? You've ruined my company. And I'm like, yeah. I said, listen, you've got 38 of the top 50 videos, blah, blah, blah. And he's gone, yes, I know, and I'm not getting a penny. I went, well, why don't you join our content partner program? It's your own fault in theory. And if you don't want that content on there, why haven't you sent me a DMCA notice? Because then we could find out who owned the content and come and do a deal with you. So he was like, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up speaking to him for about an hour and just calming him down. I said, okay, now, I said, I know you've got about 400 members. I said, look, let me do a deal with you. I said, I need 30 videos from you. if you edit the videos, I said, let me talk to your editors. If you edit the videos exactly how I tell you to, give me 30 videos. We're going to put one on a day. At the end of that month, if we haven't got you an extra 2,000 members, paying members, then I'll give you, no, I said, if we haven't given you the 2,000 members in the month, I said, I'll give you whatever money that you want. And he's gone, give me 1,000 euros per video, and I'll give you 30. So I went, okay. I said, so I'll give you 30 grand. I said, but we're putting it in escrow. I was thinking, I don't really, there was something about the guy I just didn't really trust. So in the end, we didn't need to go down the escrow route. The editors, they edited 30 videos. We had a little like bet in the office to say, or like with the other guys, I said, we will get over 4,000 video, for 4,000 new members will sign up to this thing. It took 7 days. From the first 7 videos going on, we got 4,200. But we also had a mechanic that as soon as we reached so many new members, it meant that he had to sell 51% of the company to us for something absurd like 4 or 5 million euros. But we were going to pay him that money from his own money through the sign-ups that we were getting, because we would know that we could get to 20, 30, 40,000 members within like a 4 or 5 month period. So we didn't mind paying him all this money, and we were in it for long term. Plus, that was just the content partner program. We knew that we could give 10% of the adverts, and we could get up to 150, 200,000 members with this guy's company. He would sit back, carry on doing what he's doing. The team would carry on doing what they're doing. It's just that he would have then millions in the bank, and he's gone from having a lot of money to having next to nothing. So we carried on doing this for a year. We ended up with like 20,000 members that he had. He would never sign this contract. And we were thinking, my partner said, he's never going to sign this contract, you know that. And we were getting our revenue share through the affiliate program. So in the end, we got on the phone to this guy, and we knew that we could have one of our tech guys ready to just pull the plug on his channel on YouPorn, and all his videos would disappear. So we got on a conference call, said, hey, are you going to sign this contract? Just tell us yes or no. We think no. So if it's going to be no, just be honest with us and we can just move on and try. And he went no. So I messaged the tech guy, said, okay, pour the videos now. So he poured all the videos. I said, go on to YouPorn, search for your videos. And he went, oh my God, you're insane. You can't do this. He's gone, you shouldn't be in control of this website. You're going to ruin the website, blah, blah, blah. You're going to lose millions of viewers, because his videos would have tens of millions of views. You can't do this, blah, 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 blah. So roll on. So we did do it. We never let him back on. Roll on 2 years. I think he sold his company for like 300,000.
And do you think it was he wouldn't sell on a point of what he considered a principle? I
just think he was greedy.
Right, he wanted more. I guess
he'd
already made quite a lot out of it.
Yeah, he made, in that year, I estimate about $2.5 million.
Which for him, when he was on nothing,
yeah. But what that actually did for us, so that was August 2009, or end of August 2010, we pulled the plug. His 2 main camera guys, they understood the power of YouPorn. We then got a telephone call 3rd of December 2015 to say we want to buy YouPorn by a company that we knew that they could afford us. So we went, okay. We at that point knew that we were going to sell YouPorn. A week after we agreed that we were going to, I think mid-December, the 2 content guys from the company down in Portugal reached out to say, hey, we've had enough at this company. Can you start a company and we'll come and start shooting content for you? Because obviously that's what you want. So we've gone from selling YouPorn, knowing that we were going to sell YouPorn on the 3rd of December to like the 15th of December. These two guys, we started the company 1st of January 2011, started shooting content so we could launch the sites, and then we sold YouPorn in 5th of May.
But when you sold YouPorn, did you not think about riding off into the sunset? Or, I mean, I don't know what kind of money you got, but I would assume it'd be a hell of a lot.
Yeah, I got enough. I wasn't like a major partner in YouPorn, but certainly enough. But what I did actually come away with was nobody wanted to do the production company. So I took the production company.
And this is where Fake Taxi started.
Yeah, so this is where I think Fake Taxi was our 8th site.
Right.
So we launched our first sites in September, like Dane Jones, Lesbia. We had casting.xxx and orgasms.xxx, because we launched the first websites ever on .xxx.
Yeah, I sort of remember when that was launched to protect people.
Yeah.
So why do you think Fake Taxi caught on to sort of mainstream culture the way it has? Because
everybody's been in the back of a taxi. So the reason that we thought that it would be a success was because we knew from YouPorn, looking at the stats on videos, where you can actually put yourself in a situation in the video where is a normal situation, not like being in a bed with a girl, but something like getting in the back of a taxi. Everybody gets in the back of a taxi, or
with
you've been in with a stranger, you're talking, etc. And we just knew that for us it was cheap content to shoot, because you just have the GoPros.
I wondered which camera it was.
Yeah, so we just have the GoPro. We had a handheld as well, but we just knew that we had the right guy. That was one of the main things that we needed to get. The main performer had to be right, because he had to be kinky, almost like dirty. Needed to have the gift of the gab. Needed to have like a charisma about him, and a really good performer. And he's pretty old now, bless him, but he's still going strong. You know, so it's
life in the old dog yet.
Yeah. So we always know the sites that we're going to do, but we have to wait for the right person to be in to be the main character.
So it's like a format in a sense, like a YouTube
driving,
channel almost.
Yeah, Fake Driving School. We, as soon as we shot with Ryan Ryder, because he was a professional actor. He was in Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat in Scotland on TV.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
There's another Ryder who's an actor, wasn't there? Yeah.
Winona.
And another one.
Yeah. Lone.
Yeah. Last Lone Ranger. So is the predominant you're fake? It just goes fake this?
Yeah. So we
It's a brand, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's
Weirdly,
funny how it come about,
Donald
because
Trump.
we were.
You ever thought of doing fake news? Just that one.
Oh yeah, we own fakenews.xxx.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, have you thought of doing that?
Not really.
I suppose that there was because I do remember a lot of people used to talk about there being like strip news and stuff. That was quite a fad for a while.
The Weather Girls.
Yeah, there still is.
Right.
They still do. They still do that.
Okay.
And in Japan, they've got the girls who tell the news when they have like men just coming randomly. Yeah. The girl's sitting there telling the news, and then a man just steps up nuts right on her face mid news, and she's just and the next story she just like
she keeps reading,
just the cum just gliding down of it, just like, and on the next story, and the whole point is that they have to keep a straight face the entire time.
Japanese.
There's these Japanese fellas. Shout out to them. They're into some weird shit. So
yes,
So you've got that.
Yeah.
And that's somewhat proliferated the mainstream because people have started using it as a meme as well, haven't they?
Yeah, the memes have gone mental.
Yeah.
So I actually so we sold YouPorn, we started a production company. So then we grew very, very quickly as a production company because we were really lucky. The first 4 or 5 sites that we launched were real huge success. But say that we're lucky, you could hardly get it wrong with the data that I come out of YouPorn with, because I knew what people wanted to watch. I knew what they were clicking through the content partner program. I knew what they were buying.
Right.
and I knew how to deliver those videos, what the videos needed to be on the tube site. So our business model was we create everything from the moment we pick the camera up. Everything has to be shot with the tube model in mind.
You
with the
reverse
tube
engineered it, basically.
Yeah. So because I didn't want to spend money on advertising, because I'd never spent money on advertising with YouPorn, so I didn't want to do it with my production company. So we knew the only way that we could get sell memberships was through the tube sites, and the tube sites are free. So you give them your videos. So it was, I say that we're lucky that the first 4 or 5 were a major hit, but we would have to be stupid to get it wrong.
It was essentially because you guys also knew the route in, so you would have gone on that affiliate of YouPorn, you would have done all that.
Oh yeah, we knew. Yeah, so not only YouPorn, like Pornhub, X-Hamster, X-Videos, we joined all of them.
Shout out X-Videos.
Yeah. Is that your favourite?
One of me personal favourite.
Yeah, the guy that owns that lives in Prague.
Yeah, tell them I'm asking after.
Why Prague? What's the big...
Because it's legal to do what we do there. Yeah.
Right.
It's legal to shoot. You can even shoot out in the open. That's why we do like public agent there. Oh, right. So you can have sex in public over there.
So when you set up the production company, who is the person who gets to choose the girls? Are you sort of taking a hands-on role doing that?
No, because you don't ever want me to be in control of anything like that.
He just blink once.
She can watch now because we got divorced.
Right. So, okay. Yeah. Well, good for you. Right. Okay.
Hands-on.
It was good for her.
Right. Okay.
So somebody else is that a man who chooses that?
Yeah. Lewis, the guy that was in the Portuguese production company, he is the head of production. Right. So everything that we release, he's responsible for.
So is he casting girls then? Okay.
Not casting, because you just get the girls through. He'll see a girl that he's seen in somebody else's video.
Right.
Go onto Twitter, Instagram, try and find them, have a look, see what kind of character she is, see how she's done in other scenes, have a look to see how many videos she's been in. Then he will let Nikki at Nikki's Models know, and then Nikki will just get in contact with that girl to say, hey, our company, everybody knows our company in the trade as Roosevelt. Roosevelt are looking to shoot you. Most of the performers, they know about our company because we shoot so many scenes that if we like a girl, we can give her like 10 scenes. We'll fly them to Prague from wherever they are,
right,
and they know that they could be going home with 6,000-7,000 euros in 10 days.
and I guess also they'll be well looked after as well in that time.
Yeah, they stay on location. Yeah. We pride ourselves as being a really nice, really fun production company. Not seedy. The guys, you get a lot of companies where the cameramen, they'll touch the girls. They'll feel that they're an object that they're allowed to do. We don't allow any of that. Yeah, you still get companies that do that, and the owners of some companies that they'll feel that they're allowed to do whatever they want with the girls, but they get a very bad name.
There's the classic story of you have to, the casting couch, you have to earn your way into the video.
Oh yeah, we do, because we have fake agent, and we have female fake agent.
No, but some people are actually practicing that as a...
Oh yeah,
I've seen that.
You get a lot of guys that they'll start a website which is like point of view.
Right.
So they have the camera.
That's very hard to shoot though, isn't it?
Yeah, but they don't really care too much, because they just want to have sex with a beautiful girl that they're paying 400, 500, 600 euros to film a professional scene, and the guy is actually just doing it for his own personal enjoyment, but he's created a website, and if he sells some memberships, But Nikki is with the model agency, she's very protective over her girls. So if she sees that a guy that has just got like a small POV website, she won't let him join Nikki's Models to book any of the models, because she used to be a model, so she knows what goes on, so she can be very protective.
And has there been any sort of kickback? Everything in the mainstream media recently has been about guys, inappropriately touching girls and those sort of things. Has there been a similar thing in the porn industry? It's slightly different industry.
It's slightly different industry, but you've got to understand the way that we run our company, and we really install into our crews, is that these girls are professional models.
Yeah.
They're coming onto our location to do an actual job.
Yeah.
So they sit down, they give it, if there's a script, they're given a script, they're told about what is going to happen. They're sat down with the hair and makeup, they're given their outfits that they need to wear. And we treat them not like an object of what people could think that, they're coming on and obviously they're selling themselves for money, so they're prostitutes and you can do whatever you want. I can have a field there, up there. It's completely different. On most production companies, it's very, very, very professional.
Right.
Very professional. And then as soon as the scene starts, that's when the sex happens, but it certainly doesn't happen on our location with any of the crew and the performers.
And after you got divorced, you said you're with Nikki now, who obviously got in contact with us here on the show. Nikki used to be a model.
Yeah, she was a performer.
What is it like for you as just a general bloke, being with someone who's been a model before? Was that ever like an ego thing of like, hey, I've got a porn star, or is it just normal now?
No, it's like test driving a car before you actually make the commitment to buy. So you can look online and think, yeah, she's pretty good at that.
Right.
Yeah, see, I don't really think about it that much.
Is it
because
just normal now?
Yeah, because you've got to understand, I have seen so much porn that I don't see it as porn. Right. I see it as like good points, bad points, as numbers in effect.
Almost an art form in a sense.
Yeah, so I can look at like anal video and I'm looking at the different angles. Yeah, the lighting and like, what did the girl do? Or yeah, that girl's really good. Maybe tell Lou that this girl's good. Or
is that a bit boring though, because you sort of desensitize yourself so much?
Absolutely desensitized.
So now when you come to actually have sex, is there any part of your brain that is almost like, I've been sitting watching this for God knows how many thousands of hours?
I don't look at it as porn anymore. It's just really, really weird. I just look at it. It's just my job, to look. So you don't realize that you're looking at porn.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at different things, especially when you're looking at your own content.
Right.
That's the worst thing. I never really give Lou any tips. So if there's something that I do see in the video, I'll like challenge him on it. Say, hey, why did we do this?
Right.
And he'll say, we were just trying something out, blah blah blah. But I'm no expert in the creation of porn, but I've seen so much porn that I don't look at it as porn. So when I'm with Nikki, it's not like sometimes I see like a position you think like, holy shit.
Right.
This.
Do you think as an industry, you just like his honesty?
No, I appreciate that, mate.
Do you think it's quite a creative industry? Because a lot of people from the outside just sort of think it's a very formulaic kind of guy who's a plumber, comes to a house.
You were saying earlier about the beginning there was a lot of just amateur content, people just uploading their videos. So that still goes on, but they're now professionally produced. That's how professional some of these companies are. They're creating content that you don't even realize is not user generated.
And I guess it's a bit like YouTube in a sense that they're sort of pushing the envelope where TV can't, or where mainstream porn can't.
But you have to be careful, like pushing boundaries in adult, because because of Visa and MasterCard. If you sail too close to the wind, Visa and MasterCard can say, hey, we're not prepared to bill for your website, and you're done and dusted. You lose your license.
Why?
Because they don't want to. PayPal. I think PayPal you can get through a biller called Epic billing. Okay. Which is good. It legitimizes your payment page, having that PayPal logo on there.
Can you pay on Bitcoin?
You can with some sites. Okay. I started accepting Bitcoin, crikey, about 4 years ago. But just having that Bitcoin logo on my pay page, my joins went down like 30%.
Because it looks a bit more
seedy. People are like, oh my God, if they're into Bitcoin, they're doing child prostitution and guns and
drugs, dead bodies.
So we took it off after a week.
Have you been into Bitcoin?
I'm heavily into crypto.
Right.
Heavily.
Do you mind if we go down that road?
No, definitely. Let's talk.
So it's something that I don't really know a lot about. We've had one guest, maybe two guests on the show before.
Yeah.
I'd say Sean Atwood's definitely the kind of person that would know about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And Steve
I was
Bartlett.
told about it like 5 years ago by the side.
I was told about it 20.
And he was telling me like, you've got to buy, you've got to do this right now. And I was like,
I
I've got no money.
Exactly the same thing. We had money, and when Bitcoin was at like $400, I downloaded the Coinbase app, and I bought like £300 worth, which at the time, or £250 worth, whatever
It's not
it was.
even one Bitcoin.
Yeah, which was, so I was looking at this, and that was my weekly limit I was allowed on Coinbase. So they said apply for higher limits. So I applied, sent them my bank statement, which had a lot of money going through the, as you can imagine, on the bank statement for a high net worth, and they declined. And I just thought, well, balls to you.
Yeah.
So I didn't get into Bitcoin because of that. I should have pestered and should have gone into others, but I was thinking like, oh, it's not meant to be. Didn't really think much of it. But I started getting into Bitcoin heavily. About 3 months ago, I wanted to start getting into Bitcoin, but I don't know anything about the chart. So I did an online course for a month to learn about the charts, the flags, and the
Was it
cup
good?
and
Was
handles.
it good, worthwhile?
Yeah, it's a
course?
good. Yeah, very, very, very worthwhile. So I started trading Bitcoin and other like alternative coins about 11 days ago, and it's just seriously taken over my life. And I was even considering. I had, everybody was saying invest the money that you're prepared to lose. So there I put like 10 grand into Bitcoin.
Was that all?
Well, it was, that's why I was prepared to lose, but it was, I wanted to put an awful lot more in. I was even going to sell my Ferrari to put it in.
Wow.
So that I could do with big bets, because I was doing test like buys and sells before I would commit to doing anything. So yeah, I've been in it like 10 days full on, like 18 hours a day. So I'm twitching to go look at my portfolio right now.
You're actually quite late to the party though, aren't you, in that sense?
In the scheme of things, still very, 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 very early.
Right, so if someone's looking to get into Bitcoin, it says now you can still get in and you're good. Wow.
Ah, yeah, it's never too late. All of my kids now want Bitcoin for Christmas. And my two...
Bit of a shit present,
my two sons...
Oh, great.
No, they've asked for Bitcoin.
Really?
Yeah, because I started
Xbox
10 days
One.
ago. Joe and Harry, Joe's 23, Harry just turned 20 a couple of days ago. So I gave them their Christmas money, and I lent them some money to fund their Bittrex account. So they come over to Prague last weekend. So they started in earnest on Monday. And Harry, his portfolio is already 40% up, and I think Joe's is like 28% up.
Wow. So it's almost like a trust fund in a way.
Yeah.
If you put enough money, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I'm trying to teach them that you need stop losses, because it can go to zero. Bitcoin is like $18,500 this morning. It went up from 16.5 overnight. But it can easily go to 100,000. It can easily go to zero.
Right. And so at what point do you... Because the mainstream media, all the articles are basically, that bubble's going to burst, is what they're saying. It's a bubble, which any economy is a bubble.
I think they want to...
It keeps coming
they
back.
want it to burst.
Yeah, because they're worried about it.
The market can correct. It had a correction last Wednesday, I think, of like 30%.
Down.
Yeah.
Right.
But now it's recovered, and it's I think 10-15% up on what it was. And
what's
the market,
it reactive to? What is the...
To news.
Wow,
and to rumours. A lot of stuff coming out of Korea, because the Koreans are some of the biggest investors in cryptocurrency.
Some people have made hundreds of millions out of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I have friends that have made tens of millions. One friend has made 120, 130 million.
Wow.
And these are adult guys that are in the adult industry.
Oh, right, okay. And that's... Wow. And there are other currencies, you say. So what's the...
There's lots of different coins.
Are they cross-tradable?
Bitcoin's
What's the
just the
idea
most-
here?
Everything is based on the Bitcoin value. So you have like the Satoshi, so it goes down to like 1/1,000,000th of a Bitcoin.
Right.
So you buy everything in an amount of Satoshis, and everything's relevant to the exact price of Bitcoin at the time.
So Bitcoin's sort of like the US dollar in a way, or barrel of oil or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you ever experimented with Silk Road? Have you ever been on there taking a look? Not as a techie, because you're quite a techie yourself, aren't you?
I'm pretty non-technical. But so we can read data,
right?
And got have normally a good gut feeling for things.
Okay. So, well, clearly, yeah. Sounds pretty fascinating, really, isn't it? The kind of
well, I mean, that's how I heard about it, Silk Road, because I think it was about 5-6 years ago. My mate was wanting to buy DMT on there, and then he was all about Bitcoin, and he was telling us all of it. He was like a scientist, bloody, the one who thinks the Earth's flat.
Yeah.
There's some really rich technical geeks out there.
Yeah.
Really. But I tell you, there is a hell of a lot of real wealthy under 15-year-olds.
Oh, yeah.
You're on the Telegram, some of the Telegram groups, and that these are kids, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids.
Just spelling.
Yeah, that are just trading in coins. And some of these, they must have tens of thousands.
All
of
those kids who wasted their time with FIFA coins, and they could have been living real.
That's the funny bit.
Some of these kids, their parents would not know.
They're upstairs in the bedroom trading.
what they're doing, and just how much money that they actually have. But I'm sure these kids don't see it as money. They just see it as Bitcoin, and they're trying to grow their Bitcoin as big as possible, and they have no value of money at that age.
But in a way, though, to have the balls to trade at that sort of level,
because
you
they have
to
no
not respect money
yes.
to a degree.
So
we had a poker guy on who. How do you describe Charlie? I mean, Charlie's got.
He's
on the spectrum.
He's on the spectrum.
Yeah,
sort of doesn't quite have the same social norms.
He's quite a fearless person in that respect, and he says that really helps me when I'm putting all the chips in, because I'm not worried or as emotional as the average person.
I remember there was someone who wrote a really good paper about how in the modern age ignorance is actually quite a really handy commodity to have, being ignorant but to the right things. Yeah. And I think in many ways that's the case with Bitcoin. Is you have to be ignorant isn't a bad word in that sense. You just have to not be fearful of those things. So if you
have to do your own research. There's so many groups, like the Telegram groups and Facebook groups, where you get people that give you a tip, this should do well, give you an explanation. A lot of people are going blind, and that's where you get the
sharks.
That's they call them pump and dumps. You've got big professional companies out there that have got hundreds of thousands of members in these groups. They're saying, "I'll buy this coin, sell it," and all of a sudden it will go up 60%, and then within a few minutes it goes right back down. So you need to be in on these groups if you're going to do that. But the pump and dump, the exchanges where you need to go do this,
they're calling it pump and dump, and we're not talking about porn.
No, they're trying to outlaw. So if they realise that you're being part of the pump and dumps, they're just going to close your accounts, which is good because there's no regulation. It's just
like the real
mental.
banks essentially.
Yeah. It just really is mental.
So you're spending 18 hours a day potentially on this.
Yeah.
Does the porn business just take care of itself at this point?
What I did, we go back to going through the divorce. I was going through a real terrible time. So this would have been 2014.
Do you mind us asking what triggered the divorce? Or
I went on my first porn shoot, and just met a girl on my first ever porn shoot.
What are the chances?
Yeah.
So that didn't go down too well then?
No, it didn't. But I kind of knew I'd spent so much time away from home with YouPorn. I'd say 70% of the 4.5 years that we had YouPorn, I was not at home. And it just grew apart. Right. And
so that was the straw.
Yeah, she did absolutely nothing wrong. And I think that's why we're friends. That's why it was awful for me because I felt so terrible of what happened. But it was just not a good time.
We talked about stereotypes before you come on. You don't really fit the porn guy stereotype.
I honestly thought the fake taxi guy was going to turn up.
You wanted me to wear a face blur?
No. I just thought you were going to be sort of a similar demeanour to what people say. Do you know what I mean? They sort of imagine you as like a Gold or Sullivan type. Do you know what I mean? Where it's sort of like, you know.
But you're talking about, the mistake you made or whatever, and the guilt that you have for it. It isn't what you would expect the porn king to say. You know what I mean?
we have feelings.
Yeah.
So.
Are there a lot of porn kings sitting around the table?
There's not. Yeah, we know because it's such a small industry. So everybody knows everybody.
Do you know David Golden?
Not those two, because they're old school.
They're old school.
With
Print
Soho and yeah. So the online industry is very, very, very close.
Have you got any good friends, sort of, who we might have heard of, like you said?
I guess you would have heard more of the performers.
Yeah.
You would. There you go. His little eyes lit up.
So, like European performers?
No, I'm mainly American. Familiar. Right?
We don't shoot in America, and we don't use that many.
The American girls seem to have more curvy girls. I think that's why I end up on those videos more.
So, like Ron Jeremy, obviously you know.
I've heard of him. Man.
He absolutely despises me.
Why?
Really?
Because of YouPorn.
Oh.
Yeah. Doesn't like us.
Have you seen one, Jeremy? You'd have to go and thought to be him.
Yeah, bloody hell. I wouldn't be wearing tight jeans. Or maybe I would.
So has he said something to you or to friends of yours?
Yeah, I've met him twice, and he's just made like a beeline for me. So
he's a he's an unusual character.
And I just get up and just leave wherever.
So he comes over to you and says things at you, does he?
Yeah, just joins conversation. It's like, oh, you're the.
He's quite an aggressive guy.
Yeah, nice guy though. Yeah. By all accounts, I want to be his friend.
Yeah. So why doesn't he like YouPorn?
Because we designated the industry where he was shooting 100 scenes a month to companies going out of business, only shooting 50 scenes.
Surely he's made so much money. Anyway.
Yeah. Because he's got his rum, the Ron Jeremy rum, and different
I find him a strange one though. If I can get a word in. No, but I find him weird because I remember he was shooting scenes very old, and like he was seen as a trophy for girls to collect, almost like.
But he
I did a scene with Ron Jeremy. It's almost like a.
So he would be stood at the bar or sat at the bar. He would be talking to whoever he's talking to. Girls would come along, unzip his trousers, pull his cock out, and like either suck his cock or just kiss his cock and put it back, and he would just carry on talking. And it was like they were paying like homage to the king of like performing.
And these were obviously porn actresses. Yeah, just wanted to good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
So to speak.
That's mad.
So those were the kind of play, and you've seen that happen, or you know that happens.
Yeah,
that must be quite an unusual thing to not watch.
We have seen a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
so
you crossed your arms straight away. So you definitely have seen a lot of stuff.
What is some of the weirdest or surprising things that you've seen in your time in the porn industry?
Not a lot that I'd want to speak about.
Really?
Yeah. The funniest thing. But he was actually paid to do it in one of the suites in Vegas. They were do temping bowling with midgets.
Right.
Wow.
Like so in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they would, but it was billed. It was on the flyers like midget bowling.
Right.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And
where do you grip them from?
Well,
yeah, just through the belt and
just
have the crash helmet on.
Thumb.
Yeah, and the thumb and the two fingers.
Earlier, what I found quite interesting was you said. I'm just going to move back up so slightly.
Okay.
You.
Con's just shaking his head like midget bowling.
Yeah. Wow. It's only because he's done it in Russia.
There are like lots of other different there, but honestly, you wouldn't want to talk about them.
Believe me, we would.
I wouldn't want to talk about them.
It's quite sexually explicit.
And this is nothing. I only started going to the shows in 2008.
Right.
In like the 2000 when it was.
When you say shows, you mean like AVN awards?
Yeah,
and stuff?
AVN shows and like the XBiz shows and the European summits and that.
And so you were.
It's very calm when I started going there, I was still shocked. The stories I hear from like years previous, where they'd spend $100,000 on a party.
What kind of legends are there? What sort of legends are there? Is it just a massive orgy or?
Yeah, lots of things going on. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, Berlusconi probably not.
What about in terms of porn shoots? What is the most extreme thing you've heard of on camera happening that you can't talk about?
Lots of things happen with like anal, lots of like disgusting, dirty things where girls haven't cleaned themselves. We have one particular clip in the fake taxi where the girl, she was quite ill from the bottom end.
All went everywhere.
Yeah.
3 valets it took.
I love that.
Yeah, so you have to be careful. We were out to dinner, me, Nikki, and a couple of like performers the other night, and we're saying to go, take some wine. She said, oh no, I can't. I've got an anal scene tomorrow, and the last time that I drank wine and shot anal the following day, she said I just shit everywhere.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Wow, it's mad that they have to, you know.
When
I do a podcast, it's just like I'm getting called True Geordie. Well, it's like in this is definitely not like in podcasting, because I can't relate this to podcasting at all.
Well, you can. You won't drink a lot of coffee before a podcast because, you know.
I piss a lot. Yeah, same thing.
Earlier, what I found quite interesting is you were talking about you obviously don't do a lot of interviews, and that's why we were kind of surprised, first of all, that we get an interview, because we've always spoken about doing.
Well, I tell you what, Rosie, I did realise that Nikki reached out to you, but our friends over in Spain,
right?
Rosie and Ben.
We've got
Ben's, Ben's been following you since she was on like 5,000 followers. So big shout out to Rosie.
Shout out to Rosie as well.
Yeah,
she's an editor, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. She's very good.
Of one of the porn sites as well. Who follows us?
So she works for the guy that owns PornTube, 4Tube, Blacked, Tushy, and Vixen.
They're big ones, by the way.
Blacked is probably the best porn site you're ever going to see.
High quality. I've seen it before. HD, mate. Ultra
the
HD.
Interracial niche,
Blacked.
where we spend.
You just got blacked.
Yeah, where we spend 2,000-3,000 on a scene, he spends 15,000-20,000
like
on
a
a scene.
almost.
Oh my god!
So put it this way, like for example, the one I seen was better quality than most BBC shows.
Like it was like Steven Spielberg.
No, like
just
it looked very
into Blue Planet to another level.
No, it looked high quality, mate. Like a fair play.
You're not going to get any better.
Put it this way. It looked higher quality than the kickoff. Do you know what I mean?
Tricky. That's shocking.
Do you know what I mean?
Full HD.
Clearly.
Yeah.
So, the girls are really good looking on that site as well.
So she works for that company. But I actually, when we sold YouPorn, we started the production company. I was like really bored. Plus, I knew I was going to be going through the divorce, so I needed to do something to get out the house. So I actually took.
Most people get a dog.
Yeah. So the guys at the registry at .xxx, they were going through a real bad problem of the industry hating them, didn't want .xxx. So the guy that owned the registry reached out to me and said, "Hey, you turned YouPorn from people wanting to kill you to people loving you. Can you come and try and do the same job with .xxx?" I went to Florida for 6 months, and we had quite a lot of success with getting .xxx because everybody trusted me as a YouPorn guy because we didn't do anything wrong to anybody, and we turned everything around that everybody trusted us and loved us in the end. So it was a bit of a harder job with .xxx, but we had some success. And then my friend that I'd known for ages, only a young guy, he owned PornTube and 4Tube. He wanted to build a content partner program. So he reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you come and help us with the content partner program?" So I went, "Yeah, of course I can, on the condition that I move down to Spain, because that's where his offices were. I'll come down there Monday to Friday, go home at weekends." So it suited me perfectly. So that's what we did. We built him his content partner program, which really did his websites good. But at the same time, he could see what I was doing with my production companies and how well they were doing. So we would talk a long time saying, "Hey, you should get into production." Anyway, he got into production, and he has one of the best production companies out there. Wow, he has done really good, really good.
So have you got any plans for where you want to take this company?
Well, so I was going through the divorce. I come up with this concept because you need to remember we started YouPorn, went right round. We sold YouPorn, started a production company to utilize the whole of the free porn sites that were out there, the free tube sites. I'd worked out a way that I could disrupt an industry or a segment of the industry that we helped create, like the tube sites. I worked out a mechanism that could cripple them.
Right.
So we started building this. It was called there was 3 or 4 different parts of the project. The first one was called cloud.xxx, where producers would upload their content to us, because we used to spend a lot of time watermarking all the different videos, rendering the different videos into 20 different formats. So it worked on every phone, on every browser, etc., etc. So I had to build this this protocol and this technology for my own company, but I realized that if I could get everybody's content of people that trust me, because I've earned them millions and millions and millions of dollars, like collectively through the content partner program, through YouPorn, had the complete trust. So I knew that I could create an alliance so that we could then fight against the tube sites who we were all feeding from, who we sold YouPorn to a big company at the time. It was called Manwin, since changed to MindGeek. Mm-hmm. Manwin wanted to buy my production company, really useful, but I would never sell it to them because I had a roadmap of all of the new sites that we were shooting. I couldn't possibly shoot and launch new sites quicker, but I knew that they would be a huge success. And we just launched Fake Taxi. We first come on their radar. I'd already sold one company to them. They come and said, we want to buy your company. And I said, well, you're not going to give me the money that I want for it because I know how big this company is going to be. So come back in a year, come back in 2 years. I'm not in a rush. So they kept coming back. So I knew I was going to go through a terrible time with this divorce. So I needed to do something with my company, but I didn't want to sell it because we still had a roadmap of really good websites that we wanted to do. Plus, at this time, I knew that I could create different verticals off of really useful, like different companies. Mm-hmm. So I knew that I was going to create a model agency, and I knew the model agency that I would create would be the best model agency and be the biggest, because I can get the best girls to sign for this new model agency because I can give them so many scenes because I'm shooting so many scenes. So I went over to Barcelona. I set a company up in Barcelona to do cloud and to create this alliance that all of the production companies that all trusted me would join this alliance. Collectively, we had a massive voice against the tube sites that wouldn't listen to us individually. So we had no case against them. So strategically, I leaked a document via a friend that I knew was going to give it to MindGeek. That showed them the roadmap that I had planned for cloud and how I was going to destabilize the free tube industry, which is worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. So I leaked that to him in August. They reached out in September 2014 mm-hmm. and said, hey, can you come and meet us in Amsterdam at the show that's on in Amsterdam? So I said, yeah, I'll come and meet you. What do you want to meet about? And they said, oh, we just want to talk to you about the Content Partner Program. Oh, okay. I kind of knew that they were going to approach me to buy the company again. So sat down, I made it very clear, and they did want to buy the company. Made it very clear I didn't want to sell it, but I would lease them the company, which means we carry on producing all of the content. They just run the websites, because they have hundreds of thousands of members. So just slotting our stuff in there, which is, they own all of the tube sites. They own YouPorn, Pornhub, Tube8, RedTube.
Tube8 was a good one.
Yeah, they own Brazzers, Mofos, Digital Playground.
They own Brazzers.
Yeah, they own everything. They're like $1 billion company. Mm-hmm. So they bought YouPorn from us. So we're very good friends with all of them, very good friends with the people that run the tube sites, because we were the best channels on the tube site. So I knew with the divorce coming up, I needed to do something with my company because I couldn't concentrate. I was the only one that generated the revenue in the company, and I could see that my revenue was going down. I started to not give a shit about it, which was criminal, but I started not giving a shit about not giving a shit. You know, it was, I started going down in a spiral
like that, man.
without not even knowing it, you know. So I met them in Amsterdam, So they said, "Oh, come on, this." I said, "I'll lease you my website's content management, domain management deal." So we struck up a deal. 5th of December 2014, we signed the deal. It was their big. They have like over 1,000 employees. It was their big Christmas thing over in Montreal. So we were there. So we were announced on stage that they'd just taken over. They just signed the deal to take over. They call us Fake Taxi, even though we had like 22 other websites. Everyone refers to us as Fake Taxi.
Yeah, it's your brand, isn't it?
Yeah. So me and Lewis were up on stage, and everybody was really cheering, whistling, because they knew that they'd got some of the best brands in the adult to join the MindGeek family. So for us, it was perfect. Yeah, so we now sit back, we create all of the content, and we sit back with the profit that I was earning the previous like 12 months. We get, it's called a minimum guarantee. So everything's perfect. So in that time, they've had it 3 years. The end of this month is 3 years. They've quadrupled the amount of members that I had, and I thought I had a lot of members. So they're doing amazingly, and we have full creative control over the content. Wow. So 3 years ago, I went from 16-hour days running the porn company, running Radio Sword, to 0, doing absolutely nothing, doing 30 minutes a month, issuing invoices for the production invoice and paying the staff. And I thought to myself, this is going to be amazing. Because Nikki was pregnant at the time. So this is just going to be amazing. Yeah. Unbeknown to me, it was a terrible time. Mentally, it just turned me as a person. You know,
because you've been full on for your whole life.
I had nothing to think about.
Yeah.
You know, I had nothing to think about. So I found I started becoming jealous. Never been jealous. I'm always like a confident person, you know, always like a good husband, and since like good boyfriend, consider myself really, really good dad. And I had everything. You know, one of the world's biggest production companies, certainly the biggest production company in Europe, we'd had YouPorn, for Christ's sake. Everybody knew who I was, that I wanted to know. I'd walk down Canterbury and Harry's friends, Joe's friends, or I'd get like kids, teenagers, even like 20-year-olds shouting out YouPorn, and I'd like turn around and just wave. Like, we have my Lamborghini had YouPorn like all down the side, and we're getting since sold that, but the Ferrari, we're getting that wrapped in Fake Taxi, so it's going to be like black instead of white.
Going to be mad.
Because I just love it. Everywhere I go, everywhere in Prague, I go, all the restaurants we go to, the bars, everybody knows like who we are, and everybody accepts it.
Right.
Yeah, it's great. Loved it, but I could sense something in my brain wasn't right, and I was thinking it's the divorce. Divorce was. People always say divorce was terrible. Divorce was bad because it's an emotional roller coaster. But the poor girl, she hadn't done anything wrong. I'd been with her for flipping years. We'd been married a long time. We had 5 kids, and she didn't do anything wrong ever. Didn't have a credit card. Didn't spend money. Just saved everything for the kids. Didn't have any brand name stuff. Let me go and do YouPorn. Let me do everything, and her reward was, I'm leaving you. Right. You know, it was just
she'd led a good life, relatively.
Yeah, worked ever so hard. Worked really, really hard. But the moment that I'd made a success in my life, and I was like, Del Boy, always saying, yeah, this time next year we're going to be millionaires. YouPorn come along, and this time next year it arrived. You know, and yeah, and I left her. But
what you're saying now is it wasn't a divorce that was sending you down. It was the fact that you'd been...
Yeah, I thought it was a divorce, but I didn't realise that that I was spiralling into depression. And because I was thinking, you can't be depressed. I would think about it, look in the mirrors and think, I'd sit there for like 20 minutes just staring at nothing and thinking of absolutely nothing, and thinking like, bloody hell, I could be driving my car and it would happen. And just think nothing and think, gosh, it can't happen to you. You're JT or the YouPorn guy. You've got this big production. You're doing so successful. You've got really lovely kids. You can't. But that, I couldn't even let Nikki go down the go down the shop. It was like really weird.
Well, you wouldn't want to leave you.
Yeah, just because I became very dependent on her, you know, and she was working so hard with the agency, and I was thinking, okay, I've done this deal now. Not only did they buy YouPorn from us, but that project that I was telling you about, Cloud, they actually bought that from me so that they could rip it up and throw it away so that I would not launch that. And we did the deal for them to take over my production company. So I still own the production company. Me and Lewis still own the production company. But we just produce content, and I don't have anything to do with the content. Right. So I do literally nothing. Did
you do a bit of a JLB there on Peep Show? Have you ever heard of this, where basically Corrigan agrees that he's going to unite everyone against JLB, and then all of a sudden he gets offered a check and he goes, maybe not.
Okay, but I'd only spoken to 5 people about doing this alone.
So you hadn't promised a lot of people then?
No.
Plus,
yes.
It sounds a little bit, forgive us for interrupting you, mate, it sounds a little bit like you're the guy who works all his life to get everything, and it's this obsessive, like, I want to be this person, and then you got there one day and you're like, alright, I'm here now, what do I fucking do?
Yeah, I got there. I didn't need to do this third deal with MindGate, because I would have loved to have gone through and done Cloud and seen Cloud through the 4 different mechanics it had to go through to get to the disruptive technology that I needed it to be at, and to create this alliance. It would have crippled the tube sites.
Did you never worry that someone else would do that though?
No, because it's only the running a big tube site. I don't think anybody would realize that you can do it, but you also need to own a ton of the best content to be able to do it.
So you have to be in a powerful position.
Yes, I was in a powerful position because 80% of my videos are in the top 2% of most viewed, highest rated videos on the tube sites.
Right.
So I'm in a very, very powerful position. Everybody else knows that. The tube sites know that. The content producers, they know that too.
So you're a good person to unite with.
Yeah, so they wanted to do that, but in my mind, I needed to do something to make MindGeek either come through and pay me a shitload of money for the company, or that they would let me do the lease in them, the company.
Okay.
So you're at this point now where you're in that downward spiral.
Yeah, so I was in this downward spiral. Nicky was like, get a job, just go do something. I was speaking to my YouPorn partner, and he was saying, just go volunteer, just go to like a startup factory, go find somewhere in Prague where you can go and just help people. Don't ask for anything, you don't need anything. Just reach out to people. Does anybody need any help with anything? I'm under a real severe non-compete contract, so I can't help anybody in adult with their adult company. So I didn't have the confidence to go and help someone in mainstream, because I only know adult, and what happens if it doesn't work in mainstream? I'm gonna look alright, prat, if it doesn't work out. So that knocked my confidence, that I didn't know what the hell.
I would have said, get as a sponsorship deal, pal. 20% is yours.
So yeah, I didn't realise, but I just spiraled into real depression. And it's just weird, it can affect different people different ways, and I just thought I was really, really strong. So yeah, and it just all come to a head a few months ago in September.
Really?
I just realised that I needed to get help.
You said, is this when you said you stopped drinking and smoking and stuff? Yeah, is that part
I wasn't drinking heavily. Leading up to the meltdown, I was a couple of weeks before I left Nicky, and yeah, so it was just.
And now you're back together.
Oh yeah, I think we finished about 20 times in about a month.
And that was down to your spiral.
Yeah, but Nicky, she could see what was happening with me, and it's saying like, you need to go get help. I was saying like, yeah, of course you think that I'm mental. Yeah. You want me to go get help. But I could see that she generally like loved me and wanted to be with me, wanted to carry on making the family, and yeah, so I went and got help. And
good for you, mate.
Oh yeah.
Sort of just counselling and talking to people and
counselling. It was really weird because obviously I live over in Prague and have done for quite a few years. So I just Google counsellors or psychiatrists, English speaking, found one, phoned them, and went there. I didn't realise there were different types of counsellors. So this particular one that I went to was just one that you voice everything to. They don't give you any advice, but I didn't know this. So I booked an hour with her, thinking I'm going to need more than an hour. So I sat down with her. She said, okay, so tell me what's wrong. So I started talking. And like, next thing I realised, she's looked at her watch. She went, okay, your hour's up. And I'm like, fuck, I've just told you everything. So I've opened this really big wound. You're going to need to give me some advice because I need to I need to close that. And she said, would you like to come next week? So I went...
Was she definitely English speaking?
Yeah.
And I was sitting there going, I've got no fucking idea what he's talking about. But he never shuts up this time.
Yeah. And she... so I said, yeah, come back next week. So I went out and I drove there in my Ferrari. I should have got a taxi. Didn't think of it. I thought I was going to go there. I'm going to be all better and everything's really good. Yeah. I sat in my car, in the Ferrari, sat there, didn't put the keys in the car, and I was just staring at a tree for like 30 minutes. Nikki was like, how are you getting on? What's happening? What are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. I'm looking at the messages, just staring, thinking, I shouldn't really drive home, because I'm not in my body, it's
you're
it's
not
really
present.
Yeah, I drove home. I don't know how I got home, got in, and I stood on the next to the island in the kitchen, just there, just looking out the window for about 2 hours. And Nikki was like with Lily, our little baby, and she was just like do what you want to do. And I was just like staring for 2 hours and then just burst into tears. And she's like, what is wrong? I said, do you know what? I just think I've just done the world's worst thing. I've just told this woman that I don't know, told her absolutely everything. And I just feel like so vulnerable. So she got online, found another psychiatrist for me to go see, did an emergency appointment. So she drove me down there 2 hours later, sat with this guy for 3.5 hours. Come out there 11:30 at night. Felt completely new person. He was drawing things and
so he sort of mapped out everything.
Yeah, so I went and see him a couple of days later, and then a week later, and they give me tablets to stabilize what is wrong in
beta
there.
blocker kind of things, just calm you down.
Yeah, they're for the serotonins,
right,
because that was really low from where I was drinking. That was coming really low, but it was over a period of time. But we went back to when I was 10 years old, things that happened. And one of the recent big things, obviously, Mum passing away.
All right.
Never grieved for Mum, never even cried at the cremation. And
do you think why now?
Don't know. But yeah, there's lots of things. But go back to it was about 4 years ago. It was first time that I'd ever bought a really nice car. Bought a Ferrari, right? 458 Speciale, brand new. So my uncle,
beautiful.
Yeah, it was amazing.
In red?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So my uncle, that I'd considered to be my dad my whole life, right? Put on Facebook, bought this car, waiting for the deliveries, week delivery. He hit me up, crying on the telephone. Joe, because he called me Joe, I'm going to lose the farm. Lived on a big farm. People lived in caravans around the farm. Going to lose the farm. Mortgage company calling in. I've been making my mortgage. So I was like, shit. And he said, I need 50,000. So I was thinking, he's never going to rip me off. And I went, I can get the money, but I just spent all of my money on this freaking car. So I needed to go borrow the money. I said, I can get the money, but it's whatever the interest is going to cost you need to pay this money back. And how quickly can you pay me back? And he said, I've definitely got money coming in 2 months to pay you back. So, okay, so I went and borrowed this money. They wanted $10,000 to lend me $50,000. And he needed the equivalent of $50,000. So I sent it to him. I called him 4 days later. So I said, like, you definitely going to pay this money? He said, oh, I got some bad news. I've been let down on that deal. I'm not going to be able to pay you back. And I just went, oh, okay. But that had one of the biggest effects on me mentally. Through, like, that made me stop trusting everybody. You know, and he still hasn't. The closest person, like, in my life. I used to fly him over to Prague once a month. He never used to pay for anything. He used to give him money. He used to send him money to his account.
Did that stop?
What did you do after that? With
never
him?
Talk to him again.
The end. Do you cut people out, or
yeah?
For me and Lawrence, for example, Lawrence is very forgiving, and I'm quite cutthroat.
I'm not forgiving, so I haven't spoken to him and won't.
It's not a grudge sort of thing. It's just you've done something bad.
Just can't believe that he would do it to me. But that was the catalyst for my depression and for losing trust in absolutely everybody.
Being let down that much is going to make you. It's
the only person I
rock you,
kept trust with was Lewis, my business partner, that is in control of all of the production. Because
what about Nikki?
Yeah, Nikki, I lost trust with Nikki.
The fact that you went all the way back in your life
with and I started turning into being a right arsehole.
Really?
Too.
Yeah, because when you lose trust, I think it's something that a lot of people don't.
You just say everybody's out to
and you lash out a lot as well.
Yeah, it become very, very quiet, almost like a hermit. You don't want to go out because you don't want to trust people. You're thinking like, yeah, we go out. Don't mind spending $2,000 on champagne, but now you're thinking these arseholes are only here because I'm spending $2,000 on champagne, where they've been your friends through everything. You know, and it's not their fault that they can't buy the champagne, and they're not asking you to buy the champagne. But my mentality changed. You know, it was
because the one person or one of the few people who you trusted for so long has done that to you.
So my earliest memories were
so you sort of had to work that through, work that out.
Work that out. Yeah, since September, it's been pretty good.
So it was really understanding the way that you think and maybe reprogramming that in a way.
Yeah.
Which must.
But what also helped me was Nikki, so September to October, she said, you need to go do something. So I decided that I wanted to get into cryptocurrency. So October, I found the online course. I did the online course so I could understand the graphs, did some practice trades, then started like 10 days ago. So now I'm doing cryptocurrency like 18 hours a day. So all of a sudden I've gone from doing nothing, like 30 minutes a month, to 18 hours a day. Nikki's actually hating it because I'm not showing her any attention because crypto is my new girlfriend.
You're one of these guys though. You're someone who needs something to obsess over.
Very compulsive.
I did notice you remember dates very easily. Like all of your dates. I can't remember
dates. Not with all of the girls, but
no, but there's some people out there. I feel like I'm one of those who. I need a sort of whirlwind lifestyle where I'm constantly doing something like all day. Like
I was literally sat at the table like that. Nikki would be there on her laptop. I was watching Nikki working, and I do funny little like Instagram videos. Say, "Hey, Nikki, what are you doing?" She would just look up and go like, "I'm making money, honey," and she's making a ton of money with her agency. So I was disturbing her work, and she was like, you've got to do something. I said, you just want to get rid of me out of the house. And then that would start the cogs. You'd get a tiny little cog that a text would come in at like 10:20 at night, thinking, who the fuck is texting her? Every single night she would get a text. I didn't realise, but every time I set the alarm, she would get a text notification say the alarm's been set on the house. I didn't know. So I was thinking like, her boyfriend's texting her, good night. You know? And then I would be laying in bed thinking.
Do you feel quite fragile at the moment? Or then?
Not at the moment. I feel very, very, very happy now. September, leading up to September, yes, because for me the meltdown that I had in September, my two eldest kids were there, Joe and Megan. So that wasn't good for them to see.
Oh, were they in the room with you?
Yeah. They was in the house, so they knew exactly what was going on.
And was that quite an outburst in a way?
Yeah, quite graphic.
And so for them, that I suppose seeing your dad go through that, there's something you almost need to see that at the right time.
You wouldn't want to see your dad go through it, but at the same time, you'd need to know the graphic details. I'm glad that it was the older kids. I wish they weren't there, but I'm glad it was the older ones and not the younger ones, because they need to adjust. And they need to adjust to the situation, to the issues and the problems that I have. Because these problems, I feel great now, but these problems that were identified in September are going to be there for the rest of my life. You don't all of a sudden become better.
Yeah.
If you've got like a mental disorder, it's going to be there with you all the time.
Yeah, my dad's got bipolar disorder, and it's something that was quite weird when he had his sort of. I remember. I wasn't seeing him at the time when I was a kid, but he posted a letter through my door, and he thought he was stumbling onto some sort of scientific formula, and that he was having a breakdown basically at the time, or whatever you want to call it, an episode. And I remember reading this, and my mum sort of explained to us, all right, your dad's not very well at the moment, and this is all going to be sorted out in time, but right now, this is what's happening. And now, even now, he says things, and I'm sort of aware of his illness is always going to be there. But because he's getting the right help and he's well looked after, you are less and less aware of it, and you're able to just say it's just dad. It's just dad being dad. Do you know what I mean?
But you're not diagnosed with anything.
No, it's just the good guy that I went to see after the woman that just drew things in her book.
Technique.
He just said, like, your serotonin levels are really down, because we had to do things from when the earliest memory I had right up where I was the highest, like with YouPorn, and then with the divorce down here and blah, blah, blah. And I had to show him on the graph where I was. And I think it's just pretty standard stuff that he was doing, but he was listening to absolutely everything. And he drew this boat on the water where you had like 2 little islands coming out, and you're in the boat and you can go around them because they're little issues. Those islands are problems. But when your serotonin levels are down, you then see the bigger picture. You've got the base of the islands or the icebergs, and everything that used to be a tiny little problem is an absolute mountain that you can't get round. And it just made absolute complete sense. And it was just like someone just a weight off shoulder to say, hey, look, you're not crazy. You're not going to keep going like downhill, because at that point I was just thinking, this is just going to get worse. I'm going to end up killing myself. And like, what are the kids going to do then? It's just really weird.
And
really weird. But it's really, once I spoke about it, because Nikki had spoken to my ex-wife, because we're all like, I'm good friends with my ex-wife because we got the 5 kids together. Nikki reached out to her because she just really didn't know what to do. So she was really, really good with Nikki. So they were texting each other because they both care. Not particularly because I'm a nice guy, but I have so many children.
They put life around you. And quite central to them.
And they kind of rely on me purely from a financial perspective. The kids rely on me on a financial perspective. They need me to be saving as much money and to invest in as much money and making as much money, because there's only so many cars you can have. We don't live in a particularly big house because we don't need a really big house. But
that's
I do love
to approach that, because obviously some other people with the amount of money that you might have would be like, let's live in a massive house.
I've never used to have like a lot of money, but it's always lived in a nice house. And Nikki, she bought this house as an investment. We were going to then buy some land and build a house in Prague and take like 3 years over it. I was going to pay for it over 3 years. Then we had an armed robbery in our house in Prague.
Talk about trust.
But luckily we weren't home. So they come and took our great big safe out of, it was a hidden safe in our bedroom. We come home and there was just police everywhere, and there was a hole in the wall. They'd taken the safe. There was nothing in the safe. Everything was in the tiny little safe in the office downstairs. Nothing in the But the fact that somebody had been in our house, so Nikki had already bought this house for an investment, and we was like, shit, let's move into that house. So that's where we live now. We have everybody knows it as a satellite dish house because it's on quite a main road, and for me to get Sky and everything, I have to have like a 3.2 meter satellite dish.
Yeah. I mean, you don't get Sky, but
no,
if you wanted to,
if I could,
the truth is, he's just sending porn videos to the spacecraft.
For all the
we're helping out the
American one.
airport.
So they're cracking one out.
One thing that I do find quite interesting was you were speaking before we got into this. I know we're sort of tight on time.
Are we all right? 20 minutes for 5.
One thing that I did
You
find
mean we've been an hour already?
Yeah.
2 hours.
Wow.
2 hours.
Bloody hell.
One thing that I did find quite interesting was you were talking about previous interviews you'd done, and obviously you've not done a lot. Understandably, because I imagine you're quite a press target in a way, to sort of pin it on him. He's the bad guy in this one.
Yeah.
And you've been on Canal Plus, I think it was, a French channel, where they tried to pin something on you, with another guy who sort of took the moral high ground against porn, if you like, or what he considered the moral high ground.
Yeah.
Is that something have you ever gotten into that rabbit hole of the morality of porn or that side?
Yeah, you tend to, when people reach out for an interview, just say, okay, send me the questions you want to ask, or I'll send you a list of questions that I'm going to allow you to ask me. Yeah. Just so that you're in complete control of everything. Yeah. So it was only because what Rosie was saying about you guys, that just go there, have fun, just speak about what you want to speak about. They're not going to push you for anything. And she just said, if you're going to do this once, then do it with these guys. So yeah, Rosie,
I really appreciate
big
that.
fan.
Rosie's an absolute darling.
Yeah. So she made my mind up that I wasn't in a particular rush to do it. I didn't really care if I never spoke about it. Yeah. You know. Yeah. So it's just time and everything aligned, and I'm here.
But do you get challenged often by people who are sort of like, it's anti-feminist or it's anti this or anti that? No, not especially not in Prague, because it's just accepted over there. You know, it's just a good thing. And you don't seem to be one of those bad guys in that sense. There do seem to be certain people
we have just such a good reputation. Yeah. From the YouPorn days, we have a good reputation for being like a solid company that everybody wants to shoot for us, because the girls know they're going to be looked after. We give them food, we give them lunch. If they're shooting late, they all get dinner. They're just really pampered. But as a production company, Lewis is so good at production, because every single piece of content that we put out, everybody that works for us in the editing side and the production side, every single bit of work that they do has to be the best representation of the brand that they're shooting for. And if you can install that into every single member of staff, then everything you do is going to be great. And everybody shares in the rewards too, you know. So we pay more money than anybody else for editing, for the film crew, because we can, you know. So
something you take pride in.
Yeah. Okay. But Lewis has installed that into all of the stuff. It has to be the best representation of the brand, even if it's just a 1-minute trailer we put out. Has to be the best.
Very similar to you.
Yeah. I mean, similar attitudes, mate. I appreciate that. I actually
and
respect.
Everyone's getting fucked on set.
I respect people who actually take pride in their work. I was just wondering, in the industry, when Hugh Hefner died, what was it like for everyone? Because he's sort of seen as one of the gods of porn.
But he will always be.
Is he someone you looked up to?
Admired, right, and totally respected, because of what he actually did. He took us completely mainstream, you know. So
a forefather in a sense for you.
Yeah, it's one of the most recognizable, if not the most recognizable brand in the world, let alone just in adult. Just really admired what he did. Company went through some terrible times.
It's
struggling,
but at its peak, number one by
oh
well,
my god
it?
Yeah, but his Playboy was just, you'd see kids with Playboy pencils at school on their pencil case. It was a brand that was in effect a porn brand but wasn't a porn brand, and it was a mainstream brand and wasn't, and it was just the most cleverest thing ever. A bunny with these 2 little ears.
It didn't really adapt though, did it?
No, but I think he'd made his money at that point.
He didn't really care.
He was getting to an age where he really
the fire burns less as you get older.
Yeah.
He'd reached a pinnacle, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I haven't got many more questions. Have you got much more to say?
I'm just been really fascinated by the story you told, and I'm really grateful you come on and been so sort of open with everything.
We appreciate that,
mate. Come on, because it's not very often you get to speak to someone in the industry.
I was a little bit more open than what I thought I was going to be.
Yeah.
Apparently I've got quite a knack for that. So.
Right.
But I think
it just feels like once you've opened the tap, it's the whole lot comes out.
Yeah, but I think that's something that a lot of people. I think that's something a lot of people appreciate, because actually the story you've told is actually, I think, quite an empowering story. That you've built something based on not just you saw an opportunity and decided to just go and go into the industry.
And I think what people need to take out of this is you can have so many failures. It doesn't matter. Just keep going because you're destined to do something, no matter what that is. But you have to believe in people. You have to trust people, and you have to believe and trust yourself and believe in what you're trying to do. But if you need to have people around you, you need to have the best people around you. But I don't micromanage anything. So everybody we've ever employed for the role that they need to do, they just get on and do that role. I don't want to be making decisions for them, because they're not going to intentionally make a bad decision to cost you money or to be detrimental to the company.
How have you found those people? Because that's something we've had to consider more recently.
Through people that you already employ.
Right.
Because I think it's Google hire in that way. So the Google employees, if a job comes up, they say, oh, he would be really good. Now they're responsible for that person. So the editors, who are really important in our company, they were all recommendations from other editors that we have. So they bring them under their wing. They say, right, you need to do this.
It's a very smart way of bringing. I mean, moving forward.
We're not like a recruitment company, and it's very hard to recruit people. I remember we got one of our editors. I found him on Twitter, and he was XXX editor, thinking wow, he's editing really, really good content for English girls. So I reached out to him and said, hey, we're looking for a new editor. Would you be interested? Blah, blah, blah. And went, yeah, okay. So I said, speak with Lou. He'll send over some content to you. Edit that, send it back. We'll see what it's like. And he did a really, really good job. So we said, okay. We offered him a full-time job. And then went, hey, where do you live? And he went, in Canterbury. So it's 15 miles away. And I went, oh, bloody hell, I thought you was America or wherever you were. And it ended up that he was friends with one of my friends. It's just a really, really small world.
Yeah.
So, but it is hard to recruit people for the porn industry, because they're like, oh shit, I don't want to touch porn.
Yeah.
They say, well, I pay a little bit more money than you get mainstream.
Funny
still
that,
porn.
isn't it? Yeah. Funny.
We had one of our really good editors.
I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, I've got a lot to edit right now. So
I could learn.
One of our original guys, Chris, editors, he had to stop working for us in June. Around about June, I think it was. He had to stop because his girlfriend just couldn't take it anymore.
Right.
Of him editing naked. And he'd worked for us for 4 years. Yeah. And he was like, guys, I've got to leave. And I'm like, no. He was like, well, our first employee.
Wow.
Yeah, and he said, I'm sorry, I want to continue, but I can't.
It must be interesting, because you've spent the majority of your life in this industry, whereas actually other people dip in, dip out of the industry.
Yeah, 11 years. I'm 47, 46.
Your longest career to this point, really.
Yeah, I was a dog breeder before. That was my
always
stable
watching things
income.
shag, though, weren't you?
Yeah. I know. I used to have a Mastiff stud dog.
Yeah.
Mastiff stud dog that was huge, that was very lazy. So every time they would bring bitches to the house, he was like, oh, I'd look and think, oh my God, don't do this to me. I can't be bothered. So I'd have to lift him up and help him out a little bit. And my uncle come up, the one that didn't pay me back the money, he come up once and he was like, are you wanking a dog off? And I'd be like, I'm helping the freaking dog because there's £500 I'm going to get.
It's similar to that Ron Jeremy scenario you were talking about earlier. Yeah.
Pay homage.
Yeah.
Pay homage to the
He's a prolific shagger, that dog.
Oh my God. Well, I don't think that's how you want to be remembered, but I'm going to ask you my final question that I like to ask everyone. How would you like to be remembered?
It's the YouPorn guy.
Is that enough for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a business, but be on a personal level,
Yeah.
just as the best dad ever.
That's really
Brilliant, mate.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for
Appreciate
coming
your
on.
time. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I would normally link people's websites, but I think you all know what this guy's affiliated with now. You can search that on Google. If you've enjoyed this interview, make sure you hit the like button, stay subscribed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.